The Republicans in the House said, we can do a better job managing the budget if you put us in charge. They had a thing called the Commitment with America. In that Commitment with America, they promised to pass 12 spending bills before the end of the fiscal 2023 year. That's called regular order, or the way we all manage our budgets. By the way, that hasn't happened in Washington since 1996. So Kevin McCarthy set the bar. He said, I'm going to pass 12 federal spending bills. That's why you're going to put us in charge. And then September 30th came by, and a few days before they had only one. They rushed a couple others through, but they fell far short of the 12 bills that they had promised to get done in the regular budget order they promised to restore to Washington. So the wing represented by Matt Gaetz said, hey, I'm crying foul. You broke your role. And then to avoid a shutdown, Kevin McCarthy did the unthinkable for conservatives. He did another continuing resolution, a temporary spending bill, which a lot of conservatives say is not the way you're supposed to manage a budget. And that's how we find ourselves in this moment right now. At the bottom of this, there's some buyer's remorse, right? The fiscal conservatives never trusted Kevin McCarthy, and they seem to have heartburn now that they put him in charge, much like what the Democrats have now with Joe Biden. They have buyer's remorse with Joe Biden. You see that in the polls as well. It seems as though nobody wants their leaders in Washington right now.
So, John, where is this going exactly? Because this really ultimately is in the Democrats' hands. I mean, if they literally sit on their hands, if they say, hey, GOP, have a civil war, do your thing, we're not going to vote either way, either with Gaetz or for McCarthy. If they just sit this out, that means Gaetz has got to come up with, if everybody shows up, they've got to come up with 5 Republicans to vote against McCarthy. Gaetz says he has them. I know there's Eli Crane, there's Bob Good, there's Tim Burchett, there's Gaetz. That's 4. Rosendale, Matt Rosendale seems to be one. Biggs may be one as well. Where do you think the numbers play out here, John?
Listen, there's a couple of procedures that could occur before this, right? They could table this motion for the time being. Democrats are meeting to discuss that right now. Do they join on the table, motion to table, so that the budget crisis can at least be addressed? There's only 45 days. Democrats may do that for the time being and then feel like Kevin McCarthy is going to owe them down the road. And what will they get for that debt? Will it be no major changes to border security policy in the final budget? They'll be looking for a deal with Kevin McCarthy. If the Democrats just abstain, then there are upwards of 25 House Republicans that are tempted to vote against Kevin McCarthy, and that could set in motion a really complex set of events. There's one scenario where Democrats could actually seize control of the House floor, even though they're the minority. That's one that Kevin McCarthy is trying to avoid. I think behind the scenes, much like we've seen in the last hour before Kevin McCarthy was named Speaker, and in the last hours before the budget was kicked down the road for 45 days, there's wheeling and dealing going on in the back rooms. 2 very interesting sentiments were expressed yesterday. Both Scott Perry and Andy Biggs were on our shows yesterday, and they both said now's not the time to have this motion. Let's get the budget bills done and then worry about a change in leadership. Let's deliver the win to the American people before we deliver a sacrifice at our altar of Republican politics. It'll be interesting to see if they hold sway over their group and can consider enough people to delay this vote until after the 12 budget bills are passed.